He only meant to check on the stray. That was all. But the dog had other plans, darting through the underbrush, weaving toward the old bridge like it knew something urgent. Now the man stood at the edge, hands shaking, eyes locked on the unthinkable. Young man dangled below the railing, fingers bloody, rope cutting into his hips. His voice broke into pieces as he begged not to die. The river roared below, cold and cruel. The dog barked, louder, faster, more desperate. The man stepped onto the ledge. One wrong move and he could fall too. But if he hesitated, that stranger would be gone forever. Then the rope gave a sharp snap. Before we continue, do me a favor, hit like and subscribe so you never miss. The dog came out of nowhere. One moment, the road was empty except for the slow hum of tires on damp asphalt. The next, something streaked across the double yellow lines, a blur of tan and black fur kicking up leaves as it tore into the woods. Michael slammed the brakes. His chest lurched forward. The steering wheel jolted in his grip. The tires squealed against the gravel shoulder, stopping inches from a crooked mile marker buried in weeds. He sat still for a second, heart drumming in his ears. Then came the barking. Not just any bark. Not territorial. Not hungry. This was sharp, high-pitched, frantic. Like an alarm. Michael threw the truck into park. He stepped out, boots sinking into the soggy earth. The cold air punched his lungs. The rain had passed an hour earlier, but the mist lingered, clinging to tree trunks, beading on the faded bridge sign just ahead. The dog barked again. It was deeper in now, invisible behind layers of brush and bramble. But the direction was clear, straight toward the old iron bridge that had not been used since the county rerouted the highway years ago. Locals called it Devil's Elbow, partly for the curve in the river and partly for the things it had seen. Michael followed. The dog's paw prints were easy to track, small, deep impressions in the mud, scattered with broken twigs and streaks of kicked-up moss. He caught glimpses of it between the trees, always just far enough ahead to keep him moving. A mutt, maybe part shepherd, ribs visible beneath matted fur, limping on the right hind leg, but it never stopped barking. Michael stepped over a fallen log and nearly twisted his ankle on a slick root. He cursed under his breath, brushing branches from his jacket. This was stupid. He did not even like dogs. Then the trees thinned, and there it was. The bridge. Rust-covered steel bones framed the decaying wooden planks. Vines wrapped around its legs. The railing on the right side was broken, split inward, like something had crashed through it. Or someone. The dog was at the edge, front paws braced, tail stiff. It barked 3 times, then turned to look at Michael, eyes wide, pleading. Michael's stomach sank. He jogged the last few steps and dropped to one knee beside the dog. At first, he saw nothing, just the churning river below, brown and fast, swollen, from last week's storms. Then, movement. He leaned forward, gripping the cold metal rail, and froze. A person. A young man, no older than 20, clung to a frayed rope looped under his arms. His fingers were scraped raw, knuckles split open, legs dangling helplessly over the current. His jeans were torn, his shoes were missing, his face was contorted. In agony? "Help," he gasped, voice barely carrying above the water. "Please! Please!" Michael's breath caught. The rope was not tied to anything. It was just looped around a jagged piece of rebar wedged between the bridge planks. Every time the boy swayed, the metal scraped. Fibers tore. One more swing, and it would unravel completely. The dog barked again, one sharp cry that echoed off the trees like a gunshot. Michael dropped to his belly, crawling forward until he was almost halfway over the edge. The old wood groaned beneath him. He reached out with one arm, stretching, gauging the distance. Too far. The boy's eyes rolled back. His grip slipped an inch. Michael yanked off his belt. He looped it through the railing and around his wrist. It was not much, but it was something. "Doe! Not let go!" he shouted. I can't!" Michael took a deep breath and leaned further out. The boy screamed, and the rope snapped. The end of the rope slapped hard against the side of the bridge. It spiraled in the air like a dying snake, fibers snapping in a puff of tension. One last scream echoed across the trees. Then, silence. Michael lurched forward. His hand shot out, wild and blind, catching only air. The boy was gone. No, wait. There, a blur of denim and panic. The boy had not fallen completely. His left arm had snagged a bit of rusted metal protruding from a crossbeam. He dangled now with one hand, legs swinging like a broken metronome over the roar of the river. His right shoulder had dislocated. It twisted unnaturally. He was screaming in wet, breathless gasps. Michael pulled back fast. He needed something, anything, to extend. He looked around. The dog was circling in tight, frantic loops behind him, barking non-stop. Then it stopped, trotted to the edge, and nudged something forward with its nose. Michael turned. His belt. It had slipped loose from the railing, and now lay coiled near the dog's paws, snapped at the buckle, useless. The dog let out a low whimper. Michael's mind raced. He scanned the bridge. No ropes, no harness, no gear. His phone was in the truck. No signal out here anyway. The nearest house was 2 miles back. The boy's scream cut through the fog again. Michael scrambled to his feet and ran toward the tree line. He tore a branch down, long, narrow, flexible. He broke off the leaves, ran back, and lay flat, extending it downward. "Grab it!" he shouted. "Use your legs to hook it!" The boy tried. He missed. Tried again. Caught it with one arm, but slipped again, groaning in agony. "I cannot hold on," Michael grit his teeth. "You can. You will." The boy was sobbing now, face pale as bone. Blood trickled from his lip. "I do not want to die." Something flickered in Michael's chest. Not fear. Memory. 12 years ago. Another bridge. Another scream. Another boy. He had not been fast enough that time. Michael shook it off. This time would be different. He gripped the branch tighter, wedged one boot against the rebar, and leaned. In farther. So far, his nose touched the rail. The dog growled behind him, then barked twice. Michael did not look back. Below, the boy managed to wrap the branch around his forearm, teeth clenched against the pain. Michael pulled. The branch bent. Dangerously, but held. Good, just hold on. He heaved. The boy rose 2 inches. Then the metal the boy clung to began to bend. Michael's heart skipped. The support beam, corroded with age, was peeling like wet cardboard. If it gave way, there would be nothing between the boy and the 30-foot. Drop to jagged rocks. The boy's grip faltered again. "I need more leverage," Michael muttered. "Come on, think." He scanned the area, eyes darting over rust, moss, cracked wood. Then he saw it. A bent pipe attached to the underside of the bridge, about 4 feet from where he lay. If he could loop the branch over it and pull from that angle, he might shift the weight just enough. But he would have to climb down, onto the side of the bridge itself. He looked at the dog. The dog looked back. "You stay," he whispered. "Bark if anything moves." He edged to the left, crawling along the outer plank, inch by inch. The wind picked up. His fingers slipped twice on the wet rail. He reached the pipe, gripped it, tested his weight. It held. He wrapped the branch over it, braced his legs wide and pulled. The boy rose another 4 inches. "Keep going," Michael shouted. "You are doing great," the boy sobbed. I cannot hold." "Yes, you can. You just did. You are stronger than you think." Another inch. Michael's muscles screamed. His palms were blistering. The pipe groaned. The branch bent again, but this time it caught. The boy's head cleared the edge. Michael let go of the pipe with one hand and reached down, straining. Their fingers touched. Then something gave way. Michael felt it in his wrist. Before he heard it, a tremor. Subtle. Wrong. Then the pipe moaned. He glanced left, and his blood iced. The section of pipe he had braced against was tearing loose from the bolts. Years of rust had turned its base to flaky red paper. One more second of tension, and it would rip free completely. But the boy's hand was in his now. Cold. Weak. Real. Michael gritted his teeth and hauled back with every ounce of strength he had. His arms screamed. His shoulder popped. The branch creaked like a coffin lid. The boy's torso cleared the edge. "Come on!" Michael roared. The boy kicked wildly, scrabbling, with his free hand. His fingernails were shredded. His hoodie snagged on a bolt and tore open, but inch by inch he rose. Michael dropped the branch and gripped the boy's forearm with both hands. He gave one final heave, and the boy spilled onto the bridge deck with a hollow thud. Michael collapsed beside him, gasping. His vision sparkled at the edges. His chest heaved like a bellows. His hands, slick with blood, trembled against the planks. The dog barked once, sharp and triumphant. Then everything fell silent. The boy was curled in a fetal position, shaking. His lips were blue. Tears streamed sideways across his cheeks as he panted, eyes wide with disbelief. He stammered. "I thought I was... Michael grabbed his shoulder gently. "You are not. You are here. You made it." He felt the boy's pulse, thready but present. No spinal injury from the fall. Shoulder likely dislocated. Hypothermia creeping in. Time was short. Michael pulled off his jacket and wrapped it around the boy's torso. The kid winced, but did not. "Pull away." "Can you sit up?" A nod. Shaky. But yes. Michael helped him slide back from the edge. A plank cracked under their weight and dropped into the river below, vanishing with a splash. They sat still for a moment, listening to the current. I could not hold on any more," the boy whispered. "I screamed for help for hours. I did not think anyone would come." Michael looked toward the dog. He did. The dog stood a few feet away, tail low, but wagging. It had stopped barking, but its ears remained sharp, twitching with every rustle of wind through the trees. "What is his name?" the boy asked. Michael shook his head. "No idea. He is not mine." The boy blinked. "He just found you?" Michael nodded. "Guess he knew where to go." The boy looked down. A tear dropped to the wooden plank. I was not trying to, not like that. It was an accident. I slipped. I was taking pictures. For class." Michael said nothing, just watched his face. The rawness, the fear, the relief crashing in after the adrenaline wore off. "What is your name?" he asked softly. "Caleb." "I am Michael." Caleb nodded, eyes glassy. He pressed a hand to his ribs and winced. "I think something is broken. Let us get you out of here." Michael helped him to his feet. Caleb stumbled. Michael caught him. The dog pressed in close, walking on the boy's weak side as if offering support. They started. Back through the trees, the sky was dimming. Mist still hung low. Branches clawed at their clothes. Twice Caleb almost fell. Once, Michael nearly did too. The dog darted ahead each time, then circled back, impatient. Michael's truck sat like a promise at the roadside, headlights off, engine cold. He opened the passenger door. Caleb climbed in slowly, groaning as he settled into the seat. Michael grabbed a blanket from behind the seat and tucked it around his legs. The dog stood at the edge of the trees, watching. Michael turned. "Come on." The dog did not move. Michael tried again, gentler. "You saved his life. You can ride up front." Still nothing. Then, without a sound, the dog turned and disappeared into the woods. Michael opened his mouth to call out, but stopped. Some things just leave when the job is done. He got in and started the engine. Warm air blew through the vents. Caleb leaned his head against the window, eyes already drooping. Michael pulled onto the road and drove. 5 miles later, with the lights of the urgent care clinic glowing ahead, he asked, "Why that bridge?" Caleb stirred. "It is quiet there. I go when I need to think." Michael nodded slowly. He knew that feeling. They turned into the lot. As he stepped out, he caught a flash of movement in the mirror. Far behind them, at the edge of the woods, a pair of glowing eyes watched, just for a second, then vanished into the dark. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, humming like trapped flies. Michael stood at the intake counter, arms crossed. Caleb slumped in a plastic chair nearby, wrapped in 2 blankets and half asleep. His wet hoodie, torn and blood-streaked, hung limply over the edge of the waste bin, and his shoes still had not been found. The nurse took one look at him and picked up the phone. Within minutes, 2 medics wheeled over a gurney, and Caleb was lifted gently onto it. He whimpered as his shoulder was jostled, but his eyes stayed open, still fighting, still present. Michael watched until the doors shut behind them. Then silence. He sank into the chair Caleb had left behind. It was still warm. His fingers traced the seam of his jacket, and he noticed something strange. Dog hair, embedded in the wool lining, coarse and dark. Impossible to ignore now that he saw it. He brushed it gently between his thumb and finger, almost in a daze. That dog. That damn dog. Michael's chest tightened. He had no idea where it came from. No collar, no tag, no sound but those barks, sharp, strategic, as if it knew what was happening, what needed to happen. If the dog had not run into the road, Michael shook the thought away. Too close, too fast, too real. The hallway echoed with a soft set of footsteps. A doctor approached, white coat streaked faintly with red, clipboard in hand. Her name tag read, Dr. J. Ramsey. "Are you the one who brought the kid in?" Michael stood. "Yeah. His name is Caleb. He told us." She offered a tired but sincere nod. "You did the right thing. How is he?" She glanced at the clipboard. Shoulder dislocated, 2 fractured ribs, mild hypothermia, dehydration, and severe muscle fatigue. He is stable now. We gave him fluids and pain management. We will keep him overnight." Michael nodded slowly. "Did he say anything else?" he asked. She looked up. "Like what?" "About the fall. About how long he was down there." Ramsey exhaled, leaned against the doorframe. "He said he had been hanging on for almost 3 hours. Said he screamed himself hoarse. Said he gave up. Then—" She tilted her head. "Then he said a dog barked." Michael stared at her. Ramsey blinked. "He said a dog saved him." "Yeah," Michael muttered. "He did." She studied his face. "Where is the dog now?" "I do not know." Silence lingered. Ramsey shifted gears. "You can go in, if you want. Room 3. Michael walked down the hallway. The walls were off-white. Paint chipped around the corners. The building smelled like alcohol wipes and old paper. He passed a bulletin board with missing pet posters. 3 dogs, 2 cats. One of them looked vaguely familiar. He reached the room. The door creaked open. Caleb lay on his back, left arm in a sling, blankets tucked tight around his body. He turned his head when he saw Michael. "You stayed." Michael stepped in. "Of course." A pause. Then, softly, "Thank you." Michael nodded. "You were brave," Caleb added. Michael snorted. "You are the one who held on." Caleb looked away. "I did not want to die." Michael pulled a chair beside the bed and sat. "Then do not." Caleb's lips parted, like he wanted to say something more. Then he just nodded and closed his eyes again. Minutes passed. Michael sat in silence. He thought about the river, the rope, the echo of the boy's scream, and the dog's eyes. He stood quietly, picked up his coat, and turned to leave. He made it halfway to the exit before a thought stopped him cold. The hair in his jacket. He reached into the pocket. His fingers found something. He pulled it out, a tag, just a fragment, bent and scraped. But there was a name still legible beneath the grime. Riley. Michael's brow furrowed. He turned the tag over. A number, scratched out. But beneath that, faint etching, almost hidden in the rust. Keen Unit 17, Reti. Michael stared at it for a long time. Then he walked out into the night. Rain had started again. Rain tapped softly against the windshield like fingers, drumming out a heartbeat. Michael sat behind the wheel, engine idling low. The hospital parking lot was mostly empty now, just a few late-night staff cars and one humming vending machine casting a pale glow through the mist. He held the K9 tag in his hand, turned it over again and again. Riley. The name felt familiar, but distant, like a photo left in a drawer too long. The edge of the tag was chipped, the engraving worn, but the designation remained etched in steel. K9 Unit 17. Ret. Michael traced the letters with his thumb. A retired police dog? No collar, no leash, just instinct and timing. He leaned back in the seat and stared through the rain. He did not go home. Instead, he followed a hunch. 45 minutes later, the wipers screeched across the windshield as Michael turned down a gravel road lined with broken fencing. A rusted sign swung on one chain from the gate. County K9 Division. Closed. He killed the engine and stepped out. The rain was heavier here. More honest. It soaked through his jacket in seconds, plastered, his hair to his scalp. He did not care. The building ahead was dark, but the kennels out back were barely visible in the gray haze. Michael followed the narrow path around the side, stepping over roots and pools of muddy water. The gate to the kennel yard hung open. Inside, rows of empty cages stood like forgotten soldiers, each with a nameplate, each with peeling paint and faded chew marks along the bars. Some had bowls still in place. Others were bare. He moved slowly, then stopped. Third row from the left. Last cage. The nameplate was newer than the others. Replaced recently. Riley. Retired 2021. The gate to that cage had no lock. A trail of paw prints, fresh, pressed deep in the mud, led out from it and disappeared into the trees. Michael stepped inside. The space was small, cold, but clean. In the corner, beneath a rusted hook, lay a single object, a rope toy, frayed, chewed, droplet-soaked. He picked it up gently. The air smelled faintly of cedar and old metal, of stories, of lives lived on leashes and in sirens. Michael stood still and, for the first time in years, something shifted in him. Not pain, not guilt, not even relief. Something older, something like peace. The next day, Caleb was discharged. His arm was in a sling, ribs taped. He walked slower, spoke quieter, but he smiled when he saw Michael waiting outside the clinic doors. "You came back," he said. "I said I would." Caleb opened the door, slid into the seat. "You did not have to." Michael stared forward. Neither did the dog. Caleb looked down at his lap. "I keep thinking, if he hadn't barked." Michael nodded. "You would not be here." They drove in silence for a while. At the crossroads near the outskirts of town, Caleb asked, "Did you find him?" Michael hesitated. "No, but I found where he came from." Caleb glanced sideways. "Will you go back?" Michael watched the road unfold before them, wet asphalt reflecting the morning sky. "I think he already gave me what I needed," he said. A pause. Then Caleb reached into his jacket pocket and pulled something out. "The tag. I found this," he whispered. "In your coat." Michael looked down. He smiled. He took the tag, closed his hand around it, held it tight. "Then, maybe," he said, "we both got rescued." That night, as dusk settled over the treetops, a soft bark echoed from somewhere beyond. The river. No one was there to hear it, but a single set of paw prints appeared in the mud, and then vanished into the fog. Dogs truly are the most loyal companions in our lives. What did you think of this heartwarming story? Let us know in the comments. Like the video and share it with your friends. Subscribe to our channel for daily emotional dog stories. Turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Click here to watch the next story of love, loyalty, and the incredible bond we share with our pawsome friends.